Hey y'all, welcome back to our very bookish channel. My name's Amanda, and in today's video I am so excited. I got an arc of the Thorn Queen and we're gonna talk about it. So first I want to say thank you to Edelweiss and the publishers for allowing me early access to this e-arc. I did read The Rose Bargain and I really liked that book. I thought it was good. I don't think I loved it like as much. Like I wasn't obsessed with the book. Like a lot of people on booktube and TikTok and Instagram and everywhere we talk about books, like people were just obsessed with that book. And I can see why. It was a very fun book. It was very action packed. It was a very ruthless world and I see the appeal in that, definitely. I just think it was giving me Hunger Game vibes. And I think that as a person that read Hunger Games as it was coming out all those years ago, I don't know, is it like 20 years ago? That kind of shock and awe I'm a little bit immune to, because Hunger Games kind of disturbed me in that way. That like dystopian type, brutal, especially like young adult books, and these books are recommended for 16 and up by the publisher, so like the younger kind of adult books, they're not gonna really give me that big bang, that big mind-blown, disturbed, oh my gosh, this is so good kind of feeling, just because Hunger Games did that for me all those decades ago. But I think these books are really fun, and I definitely see the appeal. I am going to talk about the first book, and I'm going to give you feelings and just a tiny bit about the second book. This is not going to be any spoilers. I definitely don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but I just want to give you a little bit of information so that you can be excited about the book and hopefully pick it up and read it, because these books are appealing to a lot of people and I do think that they are pretty good. So in The Rose Bargain, which is the first book of the duology, you have a Fae Queen, and she's sort of ruling over human lands, and she has a son, Prince Bram, who is looking for a wife. So she holds a competition. All of the 18-year-olds, every year when a woman turns 18, she can go to the queen and she can bargain for something that she wants. And so this year they have that, but anyone that wants to compete for Bram's hand in marriage can compete. So Ivy, who is the FMC, decides that she wants to compete for Bram's hand. And so there's a competition in the first book. So in the second book, you're following Ivy as well, and you are introduced to some more fairies. And these fairies are very mean. It's a really brutal world for humans. They just see humans very fleeting, like, oh, you have such short little lives, you're insignificant, you can't do anything in your measly 100 years that you live, you know. So they sort of see these humans as just like playthings. Like they just toy with them, they just play with them, they just laugh at them and make fun of them, make them do ridiculous stuff, and a lot of them are seriously hurt or even killed during these games. They just play with them, and it's kind of like, it reminded me, the book does not make this parallel, but to me it reminded me kind of like how you would see an insect. Like insects don't live very long compared to our lives. Like some of them only live a day or two and they're kind of just there, and if they bother you, you just squish them and you don't really think a lot about it. You're not really heartbroken over it. You don't get upset because you stepped on an ant while you were outside. You're not worried about the spider you squished because it was in your house. So I feel like the fairies were sort of treating humans that way. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them. And so it's a very harsh, brutal world. It's shocking, and I can see there's a factor of disturbia there. Like people are going to be a little bit disturbed if you haven't read, you know, anything similar to that. And I think that is also makes the book very interesting. I personally love very cruel, brutal worlds. I like that in books. I like being disturbed a little bit, and I like being unsettled. You know, I like that feeling. So there is that aspect in the book. There's also romance, of course. This is a romantasy. But one of my favorite parts of this book is the bonding between the sisters. Ivy does have a sister, and that's in the first book. That's not a spoiler or surprise or anything if you've read the first book or if you've even read the description. And you really get more of her sister. You really get to know her sister better. You really get the sense of the love that these sisters have for each other and the dedication they have to each other. And I just really enjoyed that aspect of the book. Ivy also befriends a maid that works with her, and I really liked that relationship in the book as well. Sasha Peyton Smith does a very good job of developing these relationships and building the stakes between people. Not necessarily high stakes as, you know, like the world building high stakes. I didn't feel that it is high stakes, but it doesn't feel like detrimental high stakes like a lot of other fantasy, like traditional fantasy or epic fantasy books feel. But there is a lot of build up, there's a lot of emotion, and there's high stakes between these relationships between the characters. And I really enjoy that aspect of the book a lot. I think if you liked The Rose Bargain, you are gonna really enjoy The Thorn Queen. The book just continues where The Rose Bargain left off, and it feels the same as the first book. The books feel very similar. It could have been one really long big book in my mind. I'm glad that it was broken up actually, because I like the series. I like the way the first book ended and there was a satisfying ending, but it opened the door for another story. So I liked that, but it could have been just one big book. The way that the books feel, the way the books are very similar in their vibe, very similar in the way they feel, very similar in their writing and all of that. I felt like the books were very cohesive, and I think if you have not read The Rose Bargain, you could sit and binge both of these books back to back. So I give The Thorn Queen 4 stars, and I cannot wait until April when everyone else gets to read the book and I get to watch the videos that everyone puts out reading this book and what their thoughts and feelings are on it.